Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is the Manhattan Beach Criterium. It's my first time doing this race. It's basically, as you can see from the top left of the map up there, it's kind of like it's almost an out and back, but it's not. It's on two separate streets. So these are not U-turns. They're just kind of like hairpin turns, basically. Yeah, and this is the Cat 4 category, open Cat 4. So yeah, we're not going to take those hairpins too well throughout the race, but it's kind of to be expected with the slow speed and stuff. Anyway, just trying to get off to a good start. This is the first little uphill section. My momentum carried me up, but the young man next to me didn't want to give up the wheel, so it's first lap, so I just back off a little bit and, just sit in the draft, trying to get a feel for the layout, being that it's my first time doing the circuit at speed. I pre-rode the circuit, in the morning when I got there, but it's way different, when you're kind of cruising around. It's way different under your own power, also opposed to riding with the peloton. So in the group, these hills are really nothing too special. Yes, they can get a little bit taxing, but overall, you just kind of roll over them. I don't even know what the gradient is. Maybe the steepest might be like 5-6%, but we go so fast we just kind of roll over them, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, this is I don't know, hopefully my last race in Cat 4. I might do Chuck Pontius, but next season I plan on racing the Masters. And then in order to do that, you got to kind of cat up. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do another race at Chuck Pontius, but other than that, I plan on kind of just moving up and trying to do Masters racing, kind of start my off season now, get my health back in order, and just keep making progress and really concentrate on coaching the athletes that I coach or work with, and put a little more emphasis on that side of the sport, and just kind of stay fit for myself and compete when I can. So anyway, this is a super long front straight here. It's pretty fun. It's I like the course better than I thought I would. You can see we're up to some pretty high speeds, and this is normal. Like every lap's going to kind of be like this. You can't really tell, but there's a slight like headwind, kind of cross headwind coming off the right side here, and you'll see later in the race it's pretty evident that the left side is the faster side. You see a near miss there, and I say it in every video. Anytime there's some abrupt lateral movement, it's pretty dangerous. People just kind of lose. They get tunnel vision and they kind of lose sight of the fact that there's people to their left and to their right. So really, we should never have sudden, abrupt left or right movements or lateral movements. Everything should be gradual and going kind of forward. So anyway, that's one full lap there, and there's a pretty good-sized bump right there. So a lot of people slow down for this turn. We go a lot slower than we need to, but at the same time, if you go faster, it stretches it out and makes it a little safer for everyone. Everyone thinks it's a little sketch, so they slow down, and then we end up going through there 3, 4, 5 wide, stuff like that. So anyway, the pace was pretty hot these first couple laps. I haven't been in the best shape or best health this year. Kind of had an up and down, rocky year, and it was hot the first couple laps. Like at least for me, it felt kind of difficult. These first few laps, I wasn't sure I was going to have the legs for the day. But after maybe the third lap, it kind of settles down, or my legs wake up, one of the two, and we kind of settle into a rhythm and just start racing our bikes. So the hill is kind of like tiered. You got a pretty decent, half mile like first climb, and then a slight downhill, and then you got this little kicker here that it's pretty good kicker, but it's kind of short, so you just kind of kicks up again, roll over it, and then we'll carry a decent amount of speed on the downhill section here for the next hairpin turn. I don't know if it's just because we haven't had a race in a few weeks, but a lot of people seem to, pretty amped up for this race. People are pretty excited, and excitement's good, but unfortunately it causes people to do some things that maybe they shouldn't do. The race wasn't that bad. It was actually a good race, and I shouldn't use the word bad because honestly, it's just racing. It's really all it is. You get 60 people all trying to compete in in the same category or whatever, and you're gonna have some near misses or whatever just because there's 60 people racing on a fairly small circuit. So anyway, this time after going on the right last time, I moved to the left here, and you'll see once we get like halfway through the road where we get exposed to the wind, you'll see the left side moves faster than the right side majority of the time, and you can move up pretty easily. As you can see there, the PRT rider is just moving up the left side fairly easy. He might be doing a decent amount of watts, but he's not going too hard. Yeah, so with being that we got a couple laps down now, starting to learn the circuit a little bit. And once I learned like where the efforts are on the circuit, it was pretty easy after that just to kind of chill. And I wanted to chill. I didn't want to spend too much energy. So here's one of the spots where you got to spend a little bit of energy here. You got to accelerate. It's always a little 600-700 watt effort coming out of that corner there just to get your momentum up to stay attached and get up the hill. So as I'm following the Wolves rider here, you got to get attached. Once you get attached here and you're like sitting in the draft, going up this hill becomes super easy. As you can see, I'm down to under 200 watts. It starts to kick up a little bit, but honestly, at the speed we're going, this is not that bad of an effort. It's just like a little punchy momentum climb. And once you get the rhythm of it, you'll know like where your efforts are, where you can recover, where you can relax. So actually, I actually enjoyed the course a lot better than I thought I would. On this side also, there's some sewer covers that are kind of, I don't know, depressed into the asphalt. So they're a couple inches, into the asphalt. I think there's one right here by that stop sign, and then you see the little dirt and stuff on the right. So overall, after a couple laps go by, I think the best place to be around this circuit was to the inside, no matter what straightaway you're on, this side or the front straight. I think being on the left side was a little bit better position for you, or at least for me. And I'm really just talking about in this race. Other races are a little bit different depending on how stretched out it is. But we weren't really stretched out that much this race. Not truly stretched out. We were still 3-4 wide, majority of the race. And this little kicker here requires a little bit of attention, to get over this kicker, especially since the video probably doesn't do it justice, but it's pretty far downhill right here, and you really get some momentum up. As you can see, it's 6.6%, minus 6.6%. So yeah, you really get some good speed coming down the hill here. We're up to 38 miles per hour, so it's really important to get over that little kicker and be attached. I'm on the wrong side here though, so I'm not getting as good a draft as I'd like to get, even though my watts are pretty low. As you can see, once we get exposed, then the watts end up coming up unless I try to tuck in to the left. Shout out to the Velosport guys again. They raced pretty good this weekend, raced pretty hard. They had some decent numbers this whole year in this category, 4, 5, 6 riders sometimes. And yeah, they've just been competing and racing pretty well. It's good to see their progress. And, we'll probably see them in the P1, 2, 3 races in the next year. Because of how much we slow down here, you can take so many different lines through these hairpins. Yeah, it's just not to beat a dead horse or, keep beating the same drum or whatever. But yeah, we definitely can take those turns a lot better, a lot smoother, a lot faster, a lot safer. But, unfortunately, someone would have to be willing to stretch it out in order to do that. Going to have some incidents in that corner later, just people not realizing their clearances and clipping pedals. Some people are trying to sprint while shifting and standing at the same time, and they're dropping, either drop a gear or I don't know what it was. But I heard a bunch of clicks sometimes with people standing and shifting at the same time. I think I catch one of them on camera, but yeah, you just got to kind of accelerate smooth out of that corner, get your speed up, and then just settle into wherever you want to, or keep on the attack if you want. I think that might be Bethel in front of me here. I thought he was in the breakaway later in the race, but I think he just kind of chilled and was mid-pack most of the race. You see Greg and the other Go Fast rider moving up on the left here. I don't know if it's this turn here, but I think the second Go Fast rider almost runs into the back of Greg here going into this turn. I just don't know if it's here or if it happened already. Yeah, it might have been there. So now I think the race is basically starting to settle in a little bit. We've done 3 or 4 laps, so everybody kind of knows the layout. Everybody's getting used to like where the lines are, where we should be. On this stretch, like I said, I definitely want to be on this left side here. You can see I'm not even pedaling. Got a good draft. And again here, as it thickens, if I just move to the left, I'll just, roll up with very minimal watts, completely protected in the wind. And as you can see, again, most people moving forward are on this left side. The right side's kind of stagnant. And you see guys moving on the left, but you see how hard they're pedaling, see how hard they're working a little bit on the left, and we're just kind of chilling over here. I'm sorry, on the right, and we're kind of chilling over here on the left side. And the guys on the right, look at the cadences like higher, pedaling a lot harder. Those are just some of the things to pay attention to, throughout a race, just so you would know, like, where to save energy. You hear me talking about saving energy a lot, and I know a lot of people think like it's not a big deal, but it is. It doesn't mean that you're not working. It just means when you need some power, when you need some energy at the end of the race, you'll have a little bit more left over. I've gained a little bit of weight this year. Like from last year, I was only 170 pounds, I think. I entered this race at 185 pounds, which is the heaviest I've been in like a couple years. But, power-wise, I only averaged I think my average was about 215 watts for this race. And my normalized power was only 257. So for me, that's pretty efficient. To only average 215 watts or whatever it is for a 40-minute race. That means I was pretty much saving decent amounts of energy, especially being a little heavier with the little hills that they have here. As you can see now, I'm like using 0 watts, just coasting. I know it's on the downhill here, but I don't need to pedal and shouldn't pedal if I don't have to. So even on the uphill here, if I was doing this by myself without the draft or without trying to find the correct pockets, I'd be putting in a lot of power to make it over these hills, at 20 plus miles per hour. I think that's Ray in front of me from Serious Cycling. I don't know if they have 2 Rays with the same name or if they have different last names. I can't recall. But I haven't seen Ray racing that much this year. I know I've seen the other Ray, racing pretty much every race. But the Ray that was in front of me a second ago, I haven't seen him much this year. So yeah, welcome back. If you've been gone, and maybe I just haven't noticed. And if you notice here, coming out of that little hump, I'm not desperate to stay on a wheel there, only because I know the downhill is coming, and having that little gap and being able to roll up into the up into the gap there without hitting brakes or anything. And you see, like I said, the left side is so much more protected. I haven't pedaled in a while now. Kind of moved up, so many spots or whatever just on the left side here. And again, now I'm just went over 300 watts for the first time right there on this front straight. And I don't mean for the first time of the race. I mean on the first time of this little segment or section, this lap. So overall, too, for the race, speed was decent. It wasn't like super fast speed or anything, but we averaged over 26. I don't know, it was 26.3 or something like that for the day. And that's okay. It's pretty much the same as we've been averaging all year, and some of the other crits, mid 26s, stuff like that. So I know some of the other races got really hot. I think the 3-4, the Masters 35 plus 3-4, which was the other race that I would have done, but I just decided not to do it. I think they were closer to 27 miles per hour. And then I believe it was the Cat 3 race was over 28 miles per hour. So yeah, there's a lot of speed on this course, more speed than you would think with these kind of slower hills here. I see the Go Fast has new jerseys there, like the one that Greg's wearing to the right there. I'm kind of mixed on them right now. I'm not sure if I like them or not, but it's not like my opinion matters. But yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of unique. Kind of like it that it's a little different. But then again, I'm not sure if I'm sold on them or if I'm just used to their more solid purple jerseys. Yeah, so that's Greg in front of me here. Greg had a good race also. I think he just missed out on the podium, which means he basically won the bunch sprint, if I'm not mistaken, because I think there's overall there's going to be 3 guys off the front. And I don't know where they go or when they leave, but unfortunately we made a mistake because in the peloton we were kind of calm, and I remember specifically hearing people say, "Hey, just let them go. It's early. They're we'll run them down." And basically, nobody made the effort to run them down. So we don't have any teams in the race that are with any type of numbers. There's only like some 2s and 3s here and there. So there wasn't really any coordination in order to bring back a break. And after people get so far up front or get to a point to where they're out of sight, you kind of lose the sense that people are off the front, and that motivation just kind of goes away. I've been saying it every lap, but as you can tell, yeah, the left side, pretty easy to move up here using like no watts. Definitely this is a great recovery spot, just being over here protected by the wind. So when we come up to the left here, if you look over to the left, I think that's where our tent is. And I can hear my wife and other teammates cheering me on every time I pass here. So it's always good to have some support. Sometimes people think it doesn't matter, but it does, especially when you're struggling. I'm not struggling here. I'm pretty comfortable. You can see my heart rate's low, under 160, which is amazing. But yeah, when it gets tough and you hear some support and people cheering you on, it definitely factors in and can give you a little boost of energy. So again, we slow down so much in those turns. At one point, I think I heard someone yelling at me from the back, and it's like, well, I don't have anywhere to go. I mean, I can't just run into the person in front of me. Yeah, I know you wanted to carry more speed through there, but what can I do? I can't do anything. There's a bunch of people in front of me on their brakes, so unfortunately, I have to brake as well. Yeah, it's always difficult. If you saw a second ago, there was a guy going backwards there. It's always difficult when the person going backward is in the middle of the peloton. You got to choose to go left, right. People don't expect there to be like a slower individual in the middle fading, and sometimes that can cause an issue. But luckily everybody made it through pretty safe. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing this course again. I think it was fairly well set up and everything. We didn't have, I don't think, any incidents with like cars getting on the road. The only incident is, we're right at the beach. Beach is like right around the corner. So it's a really high traffic area for people that like to exercise. Surfers, runners, people on bikes, people on e-bikes, walkers, things like that. And unfortunately, there's no way to keep everyone off of the road or off of the course. And sometimes people would come through, like they probably do every day. They live out there or whatever, or they're visiting. But they don't know there's a bike race sometimes. And every once in a while, we'll get someone like that on the course. But, in this race, we didn't have any incidents. But that's like the only negative that I saw, really. Everything else is really positive. Oh, and there's really just no parking. It's all metered parking, stuff like that. But that's just LA area in general. So you got a guy on a flyer on the left side. This might be what starts the breakaway. I'm not sure if the breakaway's already started or not. But that was a pretty big attack there off the left side. And I just know everybody was saying, hey, you got to go with him. He's good in the breakaway and he can definitely last. So I think this is the move that kind of stuck and stayed away. It's funny. I know we had some preem laps, but I don't really remember hearing any of them. So I don't really know how many preem laps we had in this category. But I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think I remember any preems. I don't remember any big accelerations. For people trying to get preems. I don't know. I'm sure we had them, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention to them. Maybe I was too far back. I don't really know. But I don't remember hearing the bell ring for too many preems. I'm sure somebody, took advantage of them. Looks like we're putting in a pretty solid effort here. Maybe a little bit more speed going over the hill, just trying to stay with the brake. It's funny too because we had there's going to be a pretty fast finish to this race, but I think our top speed is actually after the second turn, just getting over that little hump coming down the downhill. I think we actually hit our top speed there and not really at the end of the race on the sprint or anything. It's more so, I don't know, like 1,000 yards or whatever back from the finish is about where the fastest point of the circuit is. Like right after we do this little hairpin, go over the little kicker, and then that downhill part, I think, is the fastest point of the circuit. And I think my top speed on the day was just right at 40 miles per hour. I think it was 39.9. So here we hit the little kicker here. This is the kicker I'm talking about. And then right after we roll over this kicker is where you carry your most speed for the day. Yeah, as you can see, we're definitely in 38 here. So yeah, this is the only advantage I have for being heavier this weekend is being able to carry some good speed down on the downhill. So another thing here, that yellow, the double yellow there, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was basically a rumble strip. And, this side was a rumble strip. The other side wasn't a rumble strip. So it's really hard to ride on the double yellow on this side without getting a lot of that vibration through your bike and through the bars. So we're definitely getting down. Like these laps are about 3-minute laps. So, we have 16 minutes left in the race. So we're basically down to about 5 laps to go here. I think my fastest lap on the day was only like 250 something, and that was only at about 27 something miles per hour. So we're doing almost 3-minute laps. It's a 1.3 mile circuit, I think 1.36 or something like that. So these are some pretty long laps. Usually our crit races were under 2 minutes a lap. Got a little gap up there in the middle, but I don't really want to be in there on the right side. So let Chico Smalos, take up that gap, and then I'll just draft behind him here. Yeah, and for the most part, I kind of want to be middle left here going into this last turn. I think if we were ever like really stretched out single file, it'd be pretty fun to go through these hairpins, or at least the second one. Once again, we got some big abrupt lateral movement, almost caused an incident. And I think right there is the only apex that's important on that turn. The first one you can ignore. You can kind of shoot it out wide and then cut it in there if you have the opportunity. So yeah, I think we're going to be coming into 4 laps to go here after we pass the start finish. We're gonna have about 12 minutes, like right after we pass the start finish. So, yeah, once again, you can see I can easily move up to the front here, basically going on this left side. And again, I haven't put in like any watts, and I just keep emphasizing that because I think people, miss out on being able of how much of a benefit it can give you from just being on the right side of the course. The correct side of the course, the one that gives you the biggest advantage. As you can see, again, about 10 people moved up on the left side being protected from the wind. All right, so I think we're 4 laps to go now. The breakaways pretty much got like a 20-second lead on us now. And there's guys on the sideline, different teammates yelling out what the lead is, what the gap is. But again, we're just not organized to run it down. We don't have any teams that are up front that might, work together or be willing to cooperate and help out with it. So, at these lower categories, it kind of is what it is. If strong guys get off the front, the brakes never brought back. I'm actually I think I'm riding solo this race. Alexander Diaz raced earlier in the Cat 5 race. And we have, our women's team out with Marlena Bemis racing in the P123s. My wife Ellen and Katrina, we call her Kat, they raced in the women's 4-5 today. Kat did a great job, got 3rd place. That was her first podium. She joined our team earlier this year, and this is only like her 4th crit race. She usually does, long distance dirt, gravel races. But yeah, this is her 4th race, and she's on the podium for the first time today. So congrats to her as well. All right, so heading into 3 to go, I believe. Like I said, everybody should have our routine down. So here, I think the Velosport rider was trying to push to the right a little bit here to get in the draft. But I told him, hey, just stay left, just follow me to the left, and we'll move up very easy. So he's on my wheel right now, and you can see how easy we're moving up. I'm not even putting in a single watt at that time, and just flying by people here. Like I said, the left side is completely protected by the wind. It was hard to convince people of it sometime, and you know, and then there you go. You see guys that were on my wheel, and then they're easy to launch their attack here. But the left side is completely protected. And again, I just emphasize it because those are some of the things people should be paying attention to when they preview the course. And then in the first few laps of the race, those are some of the things you should pay attention to, just to position yourself better throughout the race. On these turns too, I'd rather be on the inside. I don't know if it was here. Maybe it's the next lap. I think someone clips a pedal. Then the next lap after that, another guy clips a pedal and takes some people out on the outside. There's a crash, and takes about 3 or 4 people out on the outside there. I think that's going into the last lap, or with 2 to go. Matter of fact, I think Mark dropped his chain also earlier in the race on that, coming out of that first hairpin with the bumps there. I don't know if he was shifting or just hit the bump and dropped the chain, ended up not being able to get back on. Because like I said, that first turn is where it's critical, just to keep momentum and then get a good acceleration out so you can stay attached during these 2 hills here. You can definitely see the sense of urgency in people's bodies now. Everybody's, starting to accelerate a little bit harder, trying to get to the front a little, trying to stay at the front a little bit more, or stay closer to the front. I'm pretty far back here now, but I wasn't concerned though. Usually I'd be concerned right now if this was a normal crit. I definitely would be concerned and I'd be way out of position. But just being how long these laps are and how long the straightaways were, I was definitely really calm here. As you can see, my heart rate's only 165. Threshold for me is 170-ish, 172, and I max out just under 200. So yeah, I was still calm. As you can see, we're over 39 miles per hour now. And I was still calm because I know how long these straightaways are, and I knew people would be fading. Those that go early are going to fade on these long straightaways. So really, I wanted to stay tucked in as long as possible and only move up on the last lap, basically. I did not want to be near the front too early and just burn too much energy. So here we go with 2 to go. Yeah, we should be going into 2 laps to go right here. And I believe on the outside, I don't know if I get it on video or not, but in the turn here on the outside, someone clips a peg and crashes right there. You just saw it, 2 guys came together on the outside there and crashed towards the fence. Once again, another good acceleration here. Now here I want to be, like I said, I don't want to be at the front, but I don't want to be too far back either. So maybe 20th wheel or so here, going in for this second lap. Second to last lap would be okay. And then I don't want to move towards the front, maybe in the top 10 after we pass that kicker. So that was my thought, that was my plan. Just stay calm here, kind of sit back a little bit, obviously stay attached, and don't fade too much, but I don't want to be at the front yet either. It's still a lot of, I mean, it's only, we're going to be coming into one lap to go, but it's still a lot of racing to do. I almost took out the the second rider there in blue. When Wolves went by, I wanted to jump on it and didn't know that somebody was so tight on his wheel because there was a little gap. So I started to move over a little bit. So good job by him, by him for not panicking or anything. And like I said, it's just racing. You know, we're all out here just trying to compete. So yeah, there's going to be some near misses every so often. So as you can see here, I'm probably about 12th wheel or so, which is a good spot. And that's where I wanted to be coming out of the inside. But we're just going into the last lap, though. This is not the last lap. We got one to go now. Once we pass the finish line, we're going to have one to go. So if you see the guy in the black and white here with the, kind of like the lime-colored sleeve. I just think as anybody that's raced with me, they know I'll communicate. I'm kind of verbal in the races sometimes, not too much, but I definitely don't mind communicating. But as you see, once we get towards the start-finish line here, I can tell that he wants to move over to the left. He wants to get to the inside of the hairpin turn, but I'm going to be on his side, and so I just communicate with him. I mean, it's not like I'm not yelling or anything like that. I just tell him to hold on a second, like, hey, we're fine. We're going to make it, like, fine. I will cut it really tight here. So not here, but you'll see, like, I can see his head is looking left. So typically when someone glances left a couple times, that means they want to move to the left. But I know I can't just give up spots here. So I tell him, hey, just hold on 1 second. We're fine. I'm going to turn left. I'll turn it tight. We'll both make it just fine. And of course he obliges and stays where he's at. Both make it through, accelerate. As I accelerate here, he's onto my wheel now. And you'll see that I basically pull him up to the group, and then he makes his pass on the left-hand side. So, and I just state this just to say, all you got to do is communicate with people. We don't need any incidents or anything, especially going into the last lap. So just communicate. And yeah, everybody's not going to be receptive to your communication, but it's worth a shot. All right, so here, this is it. This is the last lap. You can tell everybody's a little amped up. So far, I followed my plan to where just like I wanted to. However, I am going to make a mistake right here. I'm where I want to be on the left side here, but unfortunately, we're not going fast enough, really. And since we're not going fast enough, the people that are behind us, the riders that are behind us, especially when it bunches up right here, you're going to see a number of riders moving up on the left side there. So now you're going to see there's going to be a couple more people coming on the left side, and the left side is where I want to be, but I don't want to shuffle back behind them. So unfortunately, I moved to the right to move up a little bit here, and I just think this was not the right move for me because I know I want to be on the left side. I want to be on the left side coming down the straightaway there. I know that's where I'm protected the most from the wind. And what do I do here? I'm on the right side. Not only am I on the right side, everybody's desperate now, so nobody wants to give up spots on that left side. You see I'm trying to look left to see if I can move to the left. Can't really do it. Luckily, the Go Fast rider kind of cuts that guy off, so I'm able to shoot up the inside here, trying to make a couple spots. See another little opening and I move up. So now I'm pretty good. I'm sitting pretty good. I still want to be on the left side just because I know the left side's going to be moving faster. By the time we get towards the start-finish line, the left side's going to be moving faster than the right side. And unfortunately, you see this little wind opens up here, and I just get hit in the wind, have to do a lot of watts to try to accelerate and stay attached here. There's guys going backwards on the left side, which is where I want to be, so I had to weave to the right there. You see the Velosport rider attacks over there on the right side, which is fine. But I'm way out of position for that, so I just launched my sprint here through the middle, and I really can't go anywhere. There's just people in front of me, so I just kind of sit down, shut it down, and just cross the line here. So yeah, that was it. Pretty fast finish. 3 guys stayed off the front for the podium, and that was basically the bunch sprint there. So anyway, thanks for watching. That might be the end of my season, or I might do the Chuck Pontius race. Kind of want to give Go Fast some support, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Oh, that was a fast finish.